going to repeal and replace horrible, disastrous Obamacare. If we leave Obamacare in place, millions and millions of people will be forced off their plans. The bill that I will ultimately sign, and that will be a bill where everybody's going to get into the room and we're going to get it done. We'll get rid of Obamacare and make health care better for you and for your family.
All right, that was President Trump earlier tonight in Nashville, Tennessee, saying he is optimistic he will hammer out a deal with Republicans to repeal, replace Obamacare. Now, during his interview with Tucker Carlson, the president said there are 5 or 6 Republican senators who oppose the GOP health care plan. I've said it on the show before, Republican leadership, in my opinion, they were ill-prepared for this moment. Now it's time to get it right. And there is reports from the Washington Post that say, quote, Ryan-backed group target Freedom Caucus members with TV ads on the health care bill. Back with us, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. I think that was before today. The Speaker said it's not going to be the binary choice, take it or leave it, that they were once selling. I've said from the beginning, Mr. Speaker, I think they ought to get the Freedom Caucus. They ought to get Reince and Bannon and the White House in there. I even suggested you be a part of the group. The study group should get in there. The Freedom Caucus. I think they ought to get Senators Cotton and Lee and Rand Paul and Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio in there. Get the groups that are opposing it, Heritage, Americans for Prosperity, Club for Growth. Get themselves in a room, take away everybody's phone, build the box that you talk about in creating legislation, and get it done. It seems like all this infighting shows that they're ill-prepared after 8 years of running on this.
Well, look, I mean, I think you are partially right. But I think you also have to expand the room. No, I know. But you invited me to be your guest, so I'm going to give you a slightly different opinion.
I know, sorry.
Look, here's my point, and this is what folks on the right sometimes forget. Yeah, you ought to get all those people in the room. You also have to get Senator Collins from Maine. You have to get Senator Murkowski from Alaska. I mean, when you look at the Senate margins, since 0 Democrats are going to help because they can't possibly be for repealing Obamacare or they get killed in the primaries, you got 52 votes in the Senate, period. That's the universe. So you can't say, oh, let's make sure we take care of Ted Cruz, but, oh, by the way, now we've lost 5 senators over here. That's a net loss. That's not a win.
Okay, but there's got to be a sweet spot. There's got to be a win-win. There's about 23, 24 members that were in districts where Hillary Clinton won the district, but they won the Republican seat. I'm not saying to abandon those people, but I am saying, and I'm using your analogy here. This isn't mine, that you create a box, and within that box is the answer. And no one's going to get everything they want.
Look, you're right, and I believe in that box. My first point, though, to the Freedom Caucus and others is the box has to include everyone, which makes it harder, not easier. Second, I would say to you, the #1 key that I learned from the Army's Training and Doctrine Command way back in 1979 is a very simple set of words. Listen, learn, help, and lead. And the leadership is going to learn in the next few days that they better spend more of their time listening and less of their time lecturing, because it's a free society. And you got to get all these folks talking, and they got to sort it out, and they got to say, well, maybe plan 1 doesn't work. What about a plan 2, a plan 3, a plan 5, a plan 11? We didn't get the things we got done by locking people in a room and just getting one way or no way. We kept churning and looking and developing. And we had to learn a lot. And healthcare is the most complicated thing we will try to do. I agree. 10 times more complicated than national security.
For 8 years, and then you can even argue since November 8th, they knew what the president's mandate was on this. Of course, they're not going to be able to arm twist their way to a successful bill, and this is going to build a lot of resentment. I'm frustrated, and I know many other people are frustrated that they weren't prepared, that all the infighting we see going on TV and on radio every day and in the papers should not have been handled, way before they rolled out this bill and most of this taken care of and the consensus built?
Sure. In theory, yes. I mean, I agree. I once read a fascinating book by a golf teacher who had been Arnie Palmer's roommate at Wake Forest. And he said he and Palmer would go out, and they both hit bad shots. And all the way up to his next shot, he beat himself up for being stupid. All the way up to the next shot, I mean, Palmer would look up and go, bad shot, that's it. All the way up, he's figuring out how to recover. Guess which guy did better? So my only point is, we are where we are. You could go back and apportion lots of things. There wasn't a big enough transition team. They weren't prepared to deal with the complexity. Tom Price, who is brilliant and a great doctor and a good congressman, by himself can't be the whole department. The Democrats successfully slowed everything down by at least 2 months. So there are lots of places you can look at and say whether it's Ryan or it's Trump or it's McConnell or it's just where we are in life. The question is, where do we go from here now? I think that you're seeing Trump, who tonight was very good.
I agree. Do you like my idea? Put everybody in a room and all sides, all factions, everybody speaks, and lock the door, throw away your phones, and get the job done.
Well, I wouldn't do that because it takes days to solve this. But I don't want people to sort of go crazy. But I would. Your basic premise is correct. Let me point out to you, I'm very pleased with how Trump's doing this. What does he talk about tonight? He doesn't say it's this bill or nothing. He says you're going to love the ultimate bill. That's exactly the right attitude. Now let's figure out how we roll up our sleeves.
In many ways,
and we get to that ultimate bill.
Didn't they put the president in a tough spot that he's got to go in and clean up their mess? I mean, it's frustrating.
Sean, he ran for the job. He's a volunteer. He's a big boy. It's okay.
He's got the executive branch. They've got the legislative branch.
Look, I know. Look, but if one of those guys could have done it, they'd be president. Now, you got a brand new guy learning a brand new game. He's never done it before. He gets better every week.
I think he's doing it. Everybody I've talked to said he's been great in negotiations. So, all right, Mr. Speaker.
And he will be. Part of negotiating is patience. Part of negotiating is a sense of humor. He'll get there. I'm very confident that President Trump will bring to bear all the things he's learned in his career.
And so far, I think he is. And I'm more critical of the legislative branch, but hopefully they get their act together. And hopefully we learn something as we move forward to the budgets. They're going to pass 2 budgets this year, tax reform, a lot of big issues on the table. So we've got to get moving. All right. Thank you, sir.